Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill News. Hope everyone's having a lovely day. We've got lots of news to go over today. The impeachment trial is set to begin, and probably the coolest White House correspondent out there, Kevin Corke, has dropped a little nugget for us on Twitter. Very, very cool. Also, Representative Ratcliffe is out there talking about the ease with which the Senate is going to dispense of this sham trial. Also, in France, the entire country is literally on strike against Emmanuel Macron. Now, also, Rudy Giuliani is breaking his silence on the Parnas interview, and you're going to want to hear what he has to say. And finally, we have proof that Adam Schiff has been caught leaking classified information from White House committees in an effort to destroy the president. Everything here, plus more. Do not leave. Everybody sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. A famous movie villain once said, "Introduce a little anarchy, upset the established order, and everything becomes chaos." Well, rarely in history have truer words been spoken, and history has demonstrated this repeatedly. Whether it's a stock market crash, a tea attack, the power goes off longer than you've expected. All of these things happen without warning, and when it's breaking news, it's too late to prepare, and you're in a panicked scramble. Now, to avoid the chaos, there's a few things you should do, one in particular, but build an emergency food supply. I personally trust and use my Patriot Supply to do this for me and my family. Now, you can get started with a 2-week kit at their website, and this week you can save 40% off these food kits when you go to my special website, preparewithredpill78.com. These kits include breakfasts, lunches, and dinners that last up to 25 years in storage, and they arrive to your door with guaranteed 2-day delivery. Those who know what's coming are preparing today, and you should too. So go to preparewithredpill78.com and save 40% off right now. Once again, that's preparewithredpill78.com. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today we have a tweet from Kevin Corke. The impeachment trial is trending on Twitter, and so Kevin put out a tweet from inside the Capitol Rotunda, and he says, "The calm before the storm, hashtag impeachment trial." Guess he wanted people to get a look at this, and maybe people are asking, what is that? What is the calm before the storm? Well, I responded and said, where we go one, we go all, patriots fight. Kevin Corke is certainly a patriot. He is a White House correspondent, somebody who is definitely in the know, if you know what I'm saying. And he is an excellent, excellent resource for information. So highly suggest you go ahead and follow Kevin. Now, thinking about this impeachment trial, let's move on to some coverage from Representative John Ratcliffe. He's got some things to say. And what he had to say was, this is going to be like killing a fly with a sledgehammer. It's going to get ugly. Representative Ratcliffe destroying this sham impeachment trial. Well, on Monday, the Trump defense team announced several House Republicans will actually join their team to defend President Trump in the U.S. Senate trial. This looks like a dream team of lawyers, people that you would certainly want on your side. So joining the legal team are none other than Jim Jordan, Lee Zeldin, Elise Stefanik, Debbie Lesko, Mark Meadows, John Ratcliffe, Doug Collins, and Mike Johnson, some of the fastest growing and best known names in Washington, and certainly people who know what's going on. On Tuesday morning, Representative Ratcliffe joined America's Newsroom to discuss this upcoming Senate trial, this sham trial. He is a former U.S. attorney from Texas, and he described the upcoming trial as killing a fly with a sledgehammer. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what Representative Ratcliffe had to say.
House. I want to throw up on the screen the tweet you put out last night after it was announced that you would now be a new member of the president's defense team. You said, "I took the oath to defend the Constitution. This impeachment is an assault on due process. It's an assault on the separation of powers. It's unconstitutional. I'm grateful for the opportunity to make that clear to every American during the Senate trial." So for your part, you're going to be controlling the messaging. You're going to be controlling the defense of this team. How do you lay out your strategy? And we only know what we know. What are going to be the surprises as we watch this all begin this afternoon?
Well, I think the Senate defense team, as they prepare this and present this, are going to point out the fact that, again, the irony of the House Democrats wanting to impeach a president for obstructing House Democrats in a 78-day process where they forbid him from participating for the first 71 days. People are going to find it ironic that the House Democrats are wanting to impeach for obstruction of Congress, a term that the founders referred to as the separation of powers. They can't make constitutional arguments because they don't have any. This impeachment fails. It fails factually, it fails legally, it fails constitutionally. This is going to be like killing a fly with a sledgehammer. The House Democrats had a weak case, even on a slanted playing field where they made the rules, changed the rules, and broke the rules to their advantage. On a level playing field, it's going to get ugly. I expect a short trial, no witnesses, an early acquittal for President Trump.
So John Ratcliffe making an excellent point there. This whole process was completely unfair, completely unconstitutional from the very beginning. And the fact that the Democrats are now crying about wanting this to be a fair trial when it wasn't a fair inquiry, and President Trump was given none of the consideration that previous presidents who had been impeached on in the past, now they want to make sure that it's fair so that everybody gets to be heard. Absolute malarkey. They want to make sure that the trial in the Senate is slanted, unconstitutional, and just as unfair as it was in the House. President Trump was unable to have his legal team participate in the full 78-day inquiry. Out of the 78 days, 7 days. 7 days were they allowed to have anything to do with it. Complete, total, utter disregard for due process and the Constitution of the United States. Absolutely despicable. Now, next, we're going to hear a clip of Senator Crying Chuck Schumer and his complaints about what's going on in the Senate. Mind you, this is a completely different part of Congress. He's got no jurisdiction there, okay? They had jurisdiction in the House. Now it's moved over to the Senate. Let's take a listen to Crying Chuck Schumer.
Senator McConnell's resolution is a national disgrace. He's saying that he doesn't want to hear any of the existing evidence, and he doesn't want any new evidence. A trial where there's no evidence, no existing record, and no new evidence, no witnesses, no documents, that isn't a trial at all. It's a cover-up.
Well, Chuck Schumer has one thing right. There is a cover-up, but it's not in the Senate. It's in the House. The fact that they would not allow evidence to be presented, the fact that President Trump's legal team was not allowed to defend him or take part in any way, what was it they were covering up? Well, we do know that there was at least one transcript that was not released, and that's the transcript of the WB, we'll call him, more like a leaker in my book, but the leaker giving his testimony to Congress regarding his contacts with Adam Schiff and his office, or he forgot, I should say, to even mention that there were any. So right there, that throws a big monkey wrench into the narrative that Adam Schiff and the Democrats have in the House. But Adam Schiff doesn't want anybody to know because it's damaging. We've spoken about it here on the program before, and John Ratcliffe has some thoughts on that as well.
Well, actually, I agree with Chuck Schumer that there can't be a fair trial and that there was a cover-up, but not for the reasons that he thinks. The cover-up happened when Adam Schiff, who everyone knows was not truthful about his contact with the whistleblower. What they don't know is that the whistleblower was not truthful under oath about his contacts with Congressman Schiff. And there is a transcript that reflects that. It's the Inspector General's transcript. It's the only one out of 18 transcripts that hasn't been released by Congressman Schiff. So there is a cover-up there, and that is what prevents a fair trial here. Is the person in charge of this investigation was judge, jury, prosecutor. These are Adam Schiff's facts, and you can't wave a magic wand and inject fairness into a process that a conflicted witness controlled from beginning to end. I think every senator, Republican and Democrat, is going to come to that realization, and that I think early on there's going to be a motion to acquit President Trump, and I think that's going to be supported on a bipartisan basis.
So there's no such thing as a fair trial in the Senate when there was no such thing as a fair inquiry in the House. It was stacked from the very beginning. And as John Ratcliffe said, the witness was controlled from beginning to end by Adam Schiff and the Dems. How are we expected to have a full fair trial in the Senate? Well, there's absolutely no opportunity for that because it was never fair to begin with. I agree with John Ratcliffe. This is going to be very, very swift, much like a sledgehammer and a fly. I hope something's going to come out of this, but I can tell you this. I know it is not going to be the impeachment of President Trump. You guys can quote me on that. Stay comfy. Now, last night there was a post that came out at 11:18, and there have been a couple while I've been recording. The first was an excerpt from Dwight D. Eisenhower's address to the American people before leaving office, and it was his warning about the rise of the military-industrial complex. Let's go ahead and take a look at that and discuss.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
All right, what we have here in the first post, which was the speech from Dwight D. Eisenhower on January 17th, 1961, is his warning to the nation about the rise of the military-industrial complex. Ever since we came into a state of world war, the United States found it necessary to create what is the arms industry that is so prevalent here in the United States. We build weapons, other countries build weapons, and they're bought and sold across the globe. Now, this was necessary in order to keep our country safe. But what's happened is the people behind this have taken it and used it as an opportunity to place us into a near constant state of threat, a state where we will be continually at war. As President Trump calls it, endless wars. There's a difference between keeping your country safe and secure and fighting the battles for the elites, which are designed simply to become the business of death. President Trump has given us the rebuilding of our military, but it's to keep our country safe. It is not to be entered into endless wars. And the elites, as they exist today, they are powerful and rich as a result of this near constant state of war that we have been in for many, many decades. So Dwight D. Eisenhower's speech about the rise of the military-industrial complex, I think it's very timely, and I think it points us in a certain direction. Who is it that's been controlling us for all these many years? Who is it that benefits from these endless wars? Who is it that benefits from keeping us in constant fear? Who is it that benefits from our deaths and the endless creation of weapons of mass destruction, which we then use to kill each other? Well, my friends, these people are the very ones that we have been fighting against throughout our entire lives, and now it is coming to a head. We need to keep ourselves and our families and our country safe, but it's time to stop fighting the wars of the elites, which are designed solely to enrich them and to gather power from the death of millions on this planet. Now, in the next post, our favorite Anon calls out the party leaders, the Big Five. That would be Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, Adam Schiff, Chair of the Intel Committee, Jerry Nadler, Chair of Judiciary, Chuck Schumer, Senate Minority Leader, Dianne Feinstein, Ranking Member of the Judiciary, and they have control over California and New York, which is vital to maintain the D power structure. You can see Pelosi, Schiff, California, Nadler, Schumer, New York, Feinstein, California, control over California and New York, vital to maintain D structural integrity. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Now, included in there is a link from Judicial Watch, a press release about the massive voter roll cleanup that is taking place. Now, with this massive voter roll cleanup, you can bet that many people who are not legally allowed to vote, or even people who are deceased and should not be casting ballots, they're going to be removed from these voter rolls. Now, what is that going to do? That's going to take away the leverage that these people have in these states to make sure that they continue to win the seats and continue to control the state. Now, also from the New York Post, we have a link about the granting of driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. What does that do? Well, that makes it a lot easier for them to vote and cast illegal votes. And it ends with leverage, control, dictates how far you rise within the D party. Now, with the cleanups of these voter rolls by groups like Judicial Watch in places like California and other states, and other groups in states like Michigan, the significant leverage that these people hold over these states is going to be eroded, most likely to the point where they will no longer be able to sweep the states like they have in the past. We will not see votes coming up out of nowhere and the abuse of our electoral system. This is the ending of that leverage. Now, the next post is in reference to this impeachment trial. It says they are not attempting to remove POTUS from office. 2/3 of the Senate will not vote to convict. There were no laws broken. They are attempting to protect themselves from prosecution and prevent the public from discovering the truth. Well, guess what? This is happening. The public is discovering the truth. And by continuing on with this charade, all they're doing is stonewalling, and they are holding back that progress, that complete and total awakening. Well, guys, there is no stopping it now. This will happen. Now, the next two posts go hand in hand. Our favorite Anon says Delta and includes a status from the president. And here it is, a proof from Anon on the board. And it says, read the transcripts. That was posted 30 seconds after that first post from our favorite Anon in regards to the impeachment trial. President Trump says, read the transcripts. We are showing right here that they are trying to stonewall. Here we have a 30-second delta, and our favorite Anon says, thank you, Anon. Secure server reroutes create delays. F. Press F in the chat for the Dems? I don't know. Now, I don't know what F means, but I think that we're being told that this was supposed to be an exact delta, but apparently they came out within 30 seconds of each other. So a 30-second delta is something that I am willing to live with. All right, and at the beginning of the week, we had the Great Awakening. Well, right now in France, they have never went to sleep. Literally everyone in France is striking and in revolt against Macron. You won't see this on the mainstream media. Now, this is not just people in the streets. This is people in front of government buildings. This is every citizen of France. They are striking and they are throwing things in response to the treatment that they have received by the Macron government. Look at this. Books, backpacks, chairs, even the firefighters and EMTs laying down in strike. Also, the judges. Look at this. The judiciary of France. They're not taking it anymore, and they are certainly letting Macron know how they feel about him. You certainly will not hear about this on the mainstream media. Thank you very much, Eyes on Q. Now, after the interview with Lev Parnas on MSNBC's Rachel Maddow program, Rudy Giuliani and others are speaking out about his claims. Rudy said specifically he was misled by him and that, in part, he did not tell the truth. Now, if you'll remember, last Monday, the Dems released hotel stationery notes, which they claim proved that Giuliani told Lev to talk to Zelensky to tell him he wasn't going to get his aid unless. Well, also, the Justice Department has spoken out and said that Lev Parnas and his claims about Bill Barr having knowledge of everything was 100% false. President Trump also flat out denied the claims that he knew Parnas. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
I don't know him. I don't know Parnas. I don't know him at all. Don't know what he's about. Don't know where he comes from. Know nothing about him. I can only tell you this thing is a big hoax. It's a big hoax. I don't even know who this man is. No, I don't know him. Perhaps he's a fine man. Perhaps he's not. I know nothing about him.
He says
I don't know him. I don't believe I've ever spoken to him.
On the phone with Giuliani, and he said
I don't believe I've ever spoken to him.
Well, there you have it. President Trump flat out denying that he knew Parnas. Now, if you have to remember, President Trump, in his position, he meets a lot of people on a regular basis. People who are donors, people who just want a photo op. And clearly, there was a photo op with Lev Parnas sometime in the past because they've shown those pictures around. But just because he met him and shook his hand doesn't mean he knows him or had anything to do with him personally. Also, for the record, back in November, the spokesman for the Ukrainian President Zelensky said that Parnas was lying about his so-called meeting with Zelensky. Also, on Thursday, on the Clown News Network, the Ukrainian foreign minister was interviewed regarding Parnas, and he said, frankly, I never spoke with this individual, and again, frankly, I don't trust any word he's now saying. And don't forget that the former Ukrainian prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, announced that he is willing to join Representative Devin Nunes in a lawsuit against Lev Parnas for his big lie that the two met in Vienna to plot a strategy. We know that that's not true because Nunes was in Malta and Benghazi at the time, and he never traveled to Vienna in 2018, something that's very easy to check. Now, let's go ahead and take a listen to Rudy Giuliani's comments on the entire Lev Parnas scam.
Lev is someone I was close to. Obviously, I was misled by him. I feel very bad. I was godfather to his child and Svetlana's child. I still feel sorry for him. I'm not going to respond to him for each and every one of the misrepresentations he's made because there are so many. If I'm called as a witness, I'm prepared to do it. In fact, I wouldn't mind being called as a witness for a lot of reasons, including being able to reveal the unbelievable amount of corruption that went on between the Democratic Party and Ukraine all throughout the Obama administration. I think people would be astounded to know the hundreds of millions of dollars that illegally passed hands between Americans and Ukrainians.
Well, I've got it too. Simone, hello. Thank you for joining us. Clearly, Lev and Rudy were close. He was the godfather to his child. This is so sad. This man is doing whatever he needs to do to try and keep himself out of prison. It looks to me like this seems like a situation very similar to that of Michael Cohen. It looks like somebody that the Dems railroaded was forced into some charges, looking at probably some significant prison time, and is willing to do anything to stay home with his family, his wife, and his child. It's very, very sad. All right, and finally, Adam Schiff has been caught leaking classified information from the House committee in an effort to damage the president. Now, Adam Schiff has leaked sensitive and classified House committee materials in his obsession to politically damage President Trump. Now, on July 12, 2018, Democrat Representative Adam Schiff sent John Sebastian a letter on official letterhead requesting that Mr. Sebastian participate in an interview in front of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Now, that individual was an associate of Peter W. Smith, who had tried to obtain Hillary Clinton's emails and who then reportedly committed suicide in May 2017, a year before Schiff's request. Obviously, because Smith was attempting to find dirt on the Clintons, there were suspicions that his death may not have been a suicide. Now, Schiff also requested that Sebastian provide documents and information related to efforts to obtain Clinton's emails and any facts related to General Michael Flynn, Donald Trump, and others. Now, Sebastian claims he complied with Schiff's request and provided him a response by the date requested, along with a USB drive containing documents that satisfied the request. Within days, Sebastian and a family member started to receive calls from Anthony Cormier, a reporter at BuzzFeed. Cormier is known for reporting later in 2019 that Michael Cohen was asked by President Trump to lie in his testimony in front of Congress. This claim was later rebutted by the Mueller gang in their final report stating that it did not happen. Mr. Sebastian also notes that about the same time he was being contacted by BuzzFeed, Natalie Edwards was arrested and charged with leaking information to a reporter at BuzzFeed. Now, New York Times at that time reported federal authorities arrested a Treasury Department official on Wednesday and charged her with illegally showing a journalist secret reports about suspicious wire transfers by President Trump's former campaign manager Paul Manafort and others. Now, the Times also reported that Miss Edwards was charged with leaking the information to Jason Leopold of BuzzFeed. Now, that case is still ongoing, but Mr. Sebastian claims that the co-author of the August 10, 2018 article cited on page 6 of the Edwards complaint, noted as reporter 1 in the complaint, is BuzzFeed lead reporter Jason Leopold. Now, the coverage from Jason Leopold goes on to kind of go over all of these things, including information about Sebastian, and stating that Sebastian provided Schiff documents, which included the Excel spreadsheet and business transactions between the people who were trying to get Hillary Clinton's emails. Now, after the BuzzFeed article was produced related to Smith, Wall Street Journal reporters Byron Tao, Shelley Holiday, and Dustin Voles started reporting on the story back in October of 2018. Those articles continued to the Smith funding theme and relied on a specious document found in the Schiff production. Mr. Sebastian claims that he was asked about this document during his last interview with the special counsel in early 2018, where he explained how he found the document. Sebastian claims that with high probability, based on the Wall Street Journal description of how the document was formed and used, he can state it could only have come from the document provided to Adam Schiff. Now, of course, when this document and a handful of documents were turned over to the Wall Street Journal reporters, the Mueller special counsel was still an open investigation. And based on the blatant misuse of this document and several highly erroneous claims made by the Wall Street Journal reporters, Sebastian finally acquiesced to their demands for questions. He claims that it was during that process in early November that Shelley Holiday from the Wall Street Journal admitted in an interview that one of her associates was in contact with none other than Representative Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff should not be leading this impeachment inquiry, and Adam Schiff should be prosecuted for leaking sensitive, classified information to multiple reporters. This is a pattern of abuse, and we've been told about this in the posts in the past. Let's take a look at this email, which clearly indicates Adam Schiff is the leaker. And here is the email from Shelby Holiday. It says, "Thanks for getting back to me. My colleagues spoke to Adam Schiff last week, and he indicated that he is interested in taking a closer look at Mr. Smith. So they wrote about it Friday night, right there, and we included a comment from you about Mr. Smith claiming to have met with hackers in 2016. We appreciate your insight on the matters, and if there are any developments, I would love a heads up. Happy Thanksgiving." All right, so clearly Adam Schiff has all of these people in common. All of these people have been releasing classified information from ongoing investigations, and they're using this inside intel from Adam Schiff in an effort to try to discredit the president and to take him down simply because they don't like who he is. This is absolutely disgusting, and not to mention illegal. All right, guys, you can bet that this impeachment trial charade is going to be entertaining, and I can't wait to report on what comes out of it. Before I close out the show, I just wanted to say thank you very much to my viewer who sent me this. Gaia, you know who you are. I got my final box of Christmas presents today. Now, this is actually the only present. The rest were cards, but everything was amazing, you guys. You have probably no idea how much you mean to me, and today especially, it meant a lot for me to receive that package and to see all the wonderful things that you guys had to say. So, as always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. Just one more thing. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has taken the time to support this channel. If you'd like to see some ways that you can support the channel, you can always check the show notes in the pinned comment of this video below. Whether you like, whether you share, whether you make sure that your notifications are on, any way that you support this channel means so much to me. I could not be doing this without you, and I could not do it without your help. Without people like you, this channel would not exist, so thank you so much to everyone for all of their many means of support. Don't forget to check out the merchandise store that is also in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys next time.